Hey guys, welcome to episode number 43. Today is Monday, so it's Update Monday. Here in the 55-gallon fish tank, I just did a water change. So all the plants are kind of clumped up over here. But there are quite a few small molly fries still kicking around in this aquarium. You'll notice there are still some tetras left in here. I'll be moving them out shortly to make this into a species only tank for the mollies, to let them kind of grow out by themselves. I actually had to I ran out of fish food, so this is actually a different container. This is actually Ken's fish food from a couple videos ago. So starting yesterday, I've started to feed this tank the spirulina flake food. So it's high in veggie content, which is what mollies like. And I'm going to continue to dose this tank with salt and keep the temperature high, which is also what they like. Not only to keep the ick at bay, but also to stimulate breeding. I've got probably a dozen mollies in here that are almost at breeding age. They're getting there at least, so hopefully I'll spur them on. I am feeding this tank 3 or 4 times a day, so heavy feeding, heavy bio load, but everything's going good in here. I don't have substrate in this tank, and I've done that on purpose. I did have sand in there earlier, but I decided to take it out because it was just kind of getting in the way, and I didn't like the idea of having stuff trapped under the substrate, especially when fish are a little bit more sensitive to that than turtles. So anyways, that's what's going on in here. So let's go check out what's going on out here. You'll remember I had this turtle tank set up over here, and when I moved it over here, I needed to move the light that went with it. So I did move the light recently, and I put it on a hook underneath there, but as you can see, it's definitely way too close to the plastic frame there, and it heats up really quick. So I'm going to have to find an alternate way to hang this a little bit higher, so that I don't melt my plastic. But these guys love the light, happy about it. I do need to vacuum the gravel here a little bit, or the sand, as it is getting a little dirty. But this tank's actually a little bit dirtier than all of them. It's because I don't vacuum it at all. I just kind of take the water out and put dirty water in, so it's kind of perpetually dirty. But this is what I wanted to show you guys, and I'll try to get at an angle where you can see it. But if you notice on the red mangrove roots, all of those white rootlets, you can see them real good now. I know the glass is dirty, so I'm sorry about that. You can see them better this way. All those white rootlets, those are the lateral rootlets, and those are what are going to start to take up the nutrients really quickly. And all of them have those rootlets, and you can see as I kind of pan really slowly, you can see a lot of the rootlets that are all over the place now. And those are, for the most part, they're like a ½ inch long. So I'm definitely pumped about that. I think that these mangroves will take off quickly now. Some of them are all the way up at the lights already. And I wanted to show you this. So when the mangroves start off, they've just got this tip here, and I think this one's dead, but they've just got this tip here, and that's where the leaves emerge from, and then it looks something like this. What you'll notice here is the stalk is actually growing. So from this point up, is growth. So as the leaves form, the stalk is also growing up from that point. So you'll see that some of these have grown a good like 2 inches or so. So that's encouraging to see. And I will have to go through here and weed out the few that are left that never had a chance to make it. There are some dead ones in there, so I'll go ahead and pull those out soon. But yeah, I think I'm almost at the point where I need to take these crayfish out. You'll see they kind of hang on the roots there. Sorry for the lack of focus. But take these crayfish out and move them somewhere else so that I can start auto-dosing this tank. Because I want to pump up these mangroves, make sure that they have all the nutrients they could ever want, and maybe get them in good shape to start selling them once it gets a little bit warmer out. And then finally, I've got the 125 here. I did vacuum this as well, and again, I wanted to focus on the roots here, if the turtles would get out of the way. I know they like to be the stars, but the pothos plants that I didn't think were going to make it have a ridiculous, crazy root system that's started. All those roots there in front of that bark, and all the roots back there and down here are just from these 2 or 3 strands of pothos vine that are kind of hanging along the back here. I know they're really sparse. They don't have a whole lot of leaves, but they've got a lot of roots now. So hopefully that will mean a lot of new growth. And as you can see here, I think when I got it, it started like right here. So I've got like 2 or 3 leaves, 2 or 3 new leaves per strand here. And you'll see new leaves are forming over here as well. So that's all good. And the ones that I've already planted previously are really taking off. Like those 4 leaves right there, I believe those are only like 2 weeks old. So 4 leaves in 2 weeks, that's pretty good growth on such a small plant. And these were actually the cuttings from the pothos plant. So they were only like 4 or 5 leaves to begin with each. And I'd say they've probably at least doubled in size. And the same is true over here. All of this light green growth, you'll see if I back up a little bit. The dark green is the older growth, and the light green is the newer growth. So there's definitely a lot of new growth, and I just got to try to train it to stay out of the water as much as possible, to try to climb up here along the edges, not only to clarify the water, but also to add kind of a green backdrop here. So everything's doing good. You will notice I've had this this nighttime bulb. It's a blue nightlight bulb, and I haven't had it plugged in for a while. So I might get around to actually plugging that back in. I might have to set up a 3rd timer here to do that, or get some sort of extension plug or splitter to get that set up so that I have a night light on this tank, because currently I've just got the 2 overhead lights, and then I've got the basking light, and I do have to get around to trimming this because they can barely bask. There's so many plants, but that's a good thing. I will say overall I'm a lot happier with the plant life being outside of the water than inside the water, in the turtle tank at least. I don't mind the plants in the fish tank, but in the turtle tank, the aquatic plants just seem to get torn up a little bit too easily. They don't really eat them, but they do tear them up, and then it just goes straight into the filter, and then it just plugs the filter up. So yeah, this is working out a little bit better. So that's exciting. Eventually I might take 2 or 3 of those mangroves that are growing and try to plant them here. I just want to wait till their prop roots get long enough that I can plant them in the sand here in the back and still have the tip above the water here. So that might be a little while before that happens, but that's originally what I wanted to do with this tank, and it didn't work out the first time. So hopefully it'll work out this time. I'm also going to take a time-lapse video of this aquarium. I think I'll probably stand back like something like this, and then I'll put the hood down and just shoot for I don't know, like an hour or two, and then see what kind of video I can get out of it. I think this tank has a real interesting dynamic now with the number of turtles and the number of fish and the different types of fish in this tank. You'll notice that the swordtails kind of spar with each other, which is interesting. Since they are all males, they tend to do that quite a bit. And the angelfish are pretty much inseparable. And I've seen them eating entire turtle pellets. Like, they'll just eat an entire pellet. So they're getting pretty big. I'm not really concerned for them, other than a turtle getting hungry and maybe taking a bite out of one. But they seem to be doing well. They seem to be cohabitating. And as you'll see, there are a few pellets left in the tank. Those are from this morning. So, you know, I'm kind of surprised the Missouri holds up that long, that it doesn't fall apart. But also, you know, I need to do a better job at cleaning the surface of the water, you know, after the turtles and the fish are done eating, so that it doesn't foul up the water. Because after a day or so, the fish will stop biting at it, and it'll just be fuzzy, and it'll sink, and then it gets into the sand, and then it's no good. So I've noticed a lot of that just because of, you know, the number of animals I have in here, and the fact that I don't get to sit here for 15 minutes every morning and watch them eat. So, you know, it's something I kind of have to live with. But fortunately, I've got a lot of filtration on this tank, so I'm currently not too worried about the bio load. But it's fast approaching maximum capacity, and I think once I add those other fish, those few tetras that are left in the 55-gallon tank, you know, this habitat will be pretty much complete. And then I might need the mangroves in it just to keep it stable, but luckily they love to eat nitrates, so that should work out well. But that's about it for now. I am going to work on my backgrounds here soon. I'm just in the process of kind of pricing out all of the materials and figuring out, you know, how long it's going to take me to make them, and what I should price them at. Then I'll get them up online, take some pictures of them, get them up online, and, you know, see if anyone wants to buy some. I am going to start small. I'm going to start with the 2.5 gallon, 5.5 gallon, 10 gallon sizes, and do that for a little while, just because it's easier to store those. But if anyone's interested in a DIY background of any size, really, you know, I'd be willing to entertain requests. So I guess I will start taking custom orders here sometime soon, but that's about it. That's about all I have. Alright, see you guys later.